It's hot out there. Well, let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, offhand.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the February 4th, 2026 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And sports ball game, mate. You got to make sure you get in on our Super Bowl window. Click on that link in the box here. I'm going to drop it right in there right now. Be sure to click on that link. We got squares. We got a setup of everything in there. Join us, and it'll be a lot of fun to talk some trash with each other. Click on that link there. Michael Negretti, yeah, I am early. Just getting busy with everything going on. Also, a reminder, we are brought to you by Game Day in the Ram Cave. Be sure to check that one out. If you need a happier ending to the 2025 season, be sure to check out Game Day in the Ram Cave. All right, we are here getting ready for the Super Bowl. I'm not going to give my final Super Bowl prediction yet. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the cornerback room today. A little bit of stuff taking place on the front office or the coaching front. We got that stuff. And then we'll just look at some Rams history and other things that are taking place. And, of course, we will take your questions as they start rolling in. Okay. So one of the things I did want to hit on right off the bat was I saw it all over my media today was the Washington Post. The Washington Post fired its entire sports staff. And you know, everyone's outraged and everyone's upset. But the truth is, the day of the newspaper is kind of gone, right? We just know it is. Unfortunately, it's right here. Fortunately, unfortunately, it's unfortunate that other generations won't know what it's like to go buy the newspaper. It was beautiful, right? It was a beautiful thing. And then to a lesser extent, but it's still a factor, is when you print garbage all the time, you're going to pay a price. It's a blank around, find out kind of situation. And a lot of the sports reporters, 90% of them, all think they're social commentary guys. They think they're Bob Costas at the start of a Sunday night football game talking about gun control. You know, people don't want to be preached to by the sports writer. People want to be entertained by the sports writer. And that's what we had growing up. And that was one of my favorite things. That was everything. What's a newspaper, Michael Negretti? Mike, I don't know how old you are, but man, back in the day, minimum of 2 newspapers a day I purchased. Los Angeles Times, Herald Examiner. You had to pick those up. Examiner was the writer's paper. Times was the stats box score paper. They had some good guys there. I got to admit, at my age, when he was still trucking along, Jim Murray was not my cup of tea. I thought he was a little slow. I wanted it more to the point. I like Scott Ostler. I like John Hall. And of course, any of the football stuff. I think it was Bob Oates was writing for them when I first started watching. And then at the Examiner, you know, you always got mad at him, but you always read Krikorian and of course Alan Malamud. And Durslag was a little slow for me. He just got on the Al Davis suing the NFL bandwagon. It seemed like for the last 5 years, it kind of bored me. But there was a lot of good stuff. Rich Levin. There was so much good stuff at the Examiner. And then depending what part of town I was in. If I was in the San Gabriel Valley, really pushed out into the valley, I got the Tribune. If I was up in Pasadena area where I worked and family worked, I'd get the Star News. If I was out in the San Fernando Valley, it was the Daily News. And if I hadn't got my hands on it, it was USA Today, because it was pretty nice, USA Today. Nothing deep writing, but you had all the graphics and everything. That was pretty good. And then there was that wonderful 2-year stretch when the National was out, and you had to carry quarters with you. I remember going to Chili's, and they'd have the sports section above the urinal. And if I didn't have the sports section, I would pick open that lock while I'm at the urinal and steal the sports section. I guess that's bad, right? Can I be prosecuted for that now? And there was something about it. You had to work for it, had to earn it. And I think we studied harder in those days. I think we were better at our sports in those days, and we were less vapid and less ephemeral. We're very temporary now in most of our sports takes and what we view and attention span. And so, but the world changed. Unfortunately, fortunately, the world changed, and new modes. And I'd like to see a newsprint if it could last, if they print quality stuff. I'm wondering, could it make it? I don't know. But when you're not printing quality stuff, you're walking the green mile, and it's just about over. Let's see. Mr. Tim Burns is in. Mike Gutierrez, nice that Puka scored in the Pro Bowl. Shame that the Pro Bowl looks like a league. Yeah, I mean, I never liked the Pro Bowl. Someone asked me. I gave it up 40 years ago. I think Mr. Burns might have asked me that. I gave up like 40 years ago. I just didn't care, right? And I knew something was up when Mike Borrella was winning MVPs, right? Tim Burns talking about Scott Ostler. Now, I got a Scott Ostler story. Scott Ostler went to Mark Keppel High School, and one of my writing teachers in college, he read some of my sports stuff. I didn't know he was reading some of my sports stuff in the college newspaper, and he pulled me aside. He says, "You remind me of a young Scott Ostler." Talk about your head getting swelled, right? That was pretty cool. Yeah, I never forgot that, as you can tell. Okay, Manny's saying hi to everybody. I'm so glad, Manny. Thank you for saying hi. Did some homework on one of your cornerbacks. USA expat, Rams went 13 heavy last year. It might be a bigger NFL trend in 26, seeing that the Rams have never invested in linebackers or hybrid linebacker safeties. Do you think that could change in this year's draft? Well, I'm not ready to break it down, but it's funny you should ask USA expat, because I started taking a deeper look at Caleb Downs. I dismissed him because he was a safety. I dismissed him because if we're going to draft something, we're going to draft a corner. But I kept looking at Caleb Downs, and you see all the stuff he can do, and you're wondering, like, you got to be that high. You got to be what I used to call a heavy safety. I don't think I've used that term for a while. Trayvon Howard, when he played at was it TCU, he was a safety, and the Rams kind of made him a heavy safety, and so, which is that linebacker, which is kind of what Omar Spates is a little bit. So I think there's a possibility the Rams can draft somebody. I don't see them drafting a guy like that in the first round. Could be wrong, but I don't see it. Let's see. Manny Correa, Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech, Lander Barton, Utah. There you go, man, throwing stuff at me. $5 Steve, good comment from Mick Cronin last night of how today's students don't have to take notes in class now. It's provided. He said it trickles down to how you coach. Oh, pretty good. Good call. Keontae Scott, Miami. Yeah, I saw Keontae Scott there, Chief. I got you covered on that one. All right. What have the Rams done? Well, we know they extended McSnead. Raheem Morris went to the 49ers. Michael LaFleur has gone to Arizona, which you look at that team with McBride, Mike Wilson, Marvin Harrison. Go a bridge year with Jacoby Brissett, and I think you got something. Maybe deal Kyler Murray, get him off your books for a third-round pick. Somebody's got to be hungry out there. Pittsburgh. Anyway, get him off your books. And then Rams, of course, hired special team coach Bubba Patron. We talked about that. Is Nate Schalise the guy to become the OC? I also saw Rangone, the quarterback's coach, was a possibility. But here was the one that cracked me up, was LaFleur. After leaving the Rams, he's requested to interview Aubrey Pleasant for the Cardinals' DC job. Okay, that's cool. I understand that. But it also says he has just hired Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett as an OC there in Arizona. That, to me, is the kiss of death. I think they were together one year with the Jets. I think they were. But why? Why would you do that? Well, why would you hire Nathaniel Hackett? Besides being Aaron Rodgers' crummy little toady, what is he? And if you're a USC fan, you know all about the Hacketts. They can't hack it. It's like I take Shelley Hack before I take Paul Hackett back, and definitely Nathaniel Hackett. I didn't get that one. That's a great move for the Rams. If LaFleur wants to hire Nathaniel Hackett, I'm down with the get down, right? I think that's just really, really great news for sure. Yeah, I do. That's awesome. Well, before we get to the cornerback room, let me look at this real quick here. I'll second Manny. Rodriguez would be great on our defense. Jacob Rodriguez. Okay. Don't you guys feel this need for offense in an offensive league with a vulnerable wide receiver core, with some age and contracts creeping in on our tight ends? Don't you feel the need to keep reloading for the next iteration? Because the next quarterback's not going to be Matthew Stafford. The next Buddy Hackett. Yeah, the guy with marbles in his mouth. The next one's not going to be Matthew Stafford. The next quarterback may be competent, but he's not going to be Matthew Stafford. And so you got to give him the best talent available. By the time that next quarterback comes, it's not going to be Devontae Adams' world. It's going to be a different world. It's going to be Puka Nacua with mileage on him. And you need to give other weapons to that new quarterback that'll be coming maybe in 2027, 2028, and definitely, possibly, you never know. I hope not. Knock on Formica, maybe in 2026. $5 Steve, of a UCLA fan, I love the Hacketts. Yeah, I bet you did. You guys were crazy about the Hacketts. All right, Jalen Duggar, linebacker, Louisiana Lafayette. You got, hey, Manny, you got my email. So if you don't have my email, let me know. If you got my email, send me your list, and I'll come prepped, man. I'll do a Manny Correa specific show. I will. There we go. I like the tight end from Oregon State. I actually saw Colby Parkinson mentioned as a salary cap casualty, and I thought, after this year, you really think they're going to move off Parkinson? He got 1 year left on his contract. I don't think they're going to move off Parkinson. I don't know. I thought it was a bit crazy. Okay, real quick here. Let's look at Ram free agents again. Want to throw this up there. The blue are some of the guys that was there a question about them bringing them back? Higbee, Kobe Durant, Roger McCreary, and then Cam Curl's in black there in bold because I really want Cam Curl back. And then you see the other names on there, and so there you go. And you see what's open in 2027. Matthew Stafford, they say, may hint that maybe he wants to renegotiate a little bit to come back for another year. If Matthew Stafford wants 70 rocks to come back one more year, then I give Matthew Stafford 70 rocks. That's how I feel about it. I do not want to I think he's given us a bargain for so long that if the dude wants more money, give the dude more money. Defense wins championships. I don't know if defense wins championships anymore. I think if Seattle wins, I don't think they're going to win because of their defense. I think they're going to win because of the incompetence of the New England offense. I think the Rams proved Seattle doesn't have that great of a defense. It's offense that wins championships. Defense has to be competent. I don't think defense wins championships anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll take correction. And we'll go from there. All right, let's look at that cornerback room. But first, let me remind you, Kistler Law. I want to break these up a little bit because I've got so many things to share now. Make sure with Kistler Law, get the compensation you deserve. I actually had somebody call me about Kistler Law today, and I gave a reference to them. So there you go. Check out Kistler Law. If you've been in an auto accident, check them out. Click on that QR code and get what you need. Get the compensation you deserve. All right, cool. Let's look at this real quick here. The Rams cornerback room as of now. I did steal this off of Twitter. Rams GM Les Snead on his cornerback room, he says, it'll be a position group that we'll attack over the next few weeks and few months. So if he says next few weeks, does that mean he's looking at the possibility of how do I say that? Let me get in here. There we go. Is that one good? That one's better. All right. If he's saying the next few, does that mean they're really going to be looking at free agency? Right? Does that mean they're going to look at free agency? That one makes me interested right there. And I've got a couple of names there to throw at you that I think would be front line free agent. Manny Correa. You got my email, man. Send it to me. But here are the guys that are still under contract. And Emmanuel Forbes, guys, one more year left. I think his rookie year was a lost year. I think his second year he was cut or waived and didn't get on the field much. I view this year as really Emmanuel Forbes' first year, and then the Rams are going to bring him back. They've invested in him. They're going to bring him back one more year. Does he get a second contract after that? I don't know. Was he less than what I wanted him to be? Of course, absolutely. But I don't think he was as bad as everyone tried to make. Everyone needed a scapegoat when the defense couldn't get to the quarterback. So we got to pick on Emmanuel Forbes, right? I thought it was very low-hanging fruit by the KBM, and there you go. Darius Williams is under contract, but he is likely to be a camp casualty or a cap casualty. I just don't see bringing him back, right? Darian Kendrick, yeah, I think he's had his run. Cam Lampkin, the same thing. Josh Wallace is listed right now as a corner because he played that slot position, that slot corner, while quite a bit when Quentin Lake was gone. I like Josh Wallace. I think he fits better as a safety, a little more hybrid, but he's in line behind everybody else. Cam Kitchens, Cam Curl, Jalen McCullough, all those guys. And, of course, Quentin Lake. Don't think of him as a corner. And then the free agents, Kobe Durant, Roger McCreary. Durant had a great postseason. Well, he had 3 picks in the postseason. I don't know if it was a great postseason. Roger McCreary, I'd be willing for the right price to bring him back. I'd be curious to know what you guys think about that. And then, of course, I just can't see Ahkello Witherspoon coming back. Witherspoon is 30 going on 31. Darius Williams is 32 going on 33. And for some reason, Chris Shula thought, hey, let's put him on an island by himself with Rashid Shaheed. I'm not over that. I'm not over that by a long shot. But that's the cornerback room right there. So basically, what you really have is Emmanuel Forbes right now and pretty much nothing, depending on Kobe Durant and Roger McCreary. I could see one of them. I'd like to see McCreary for sure. Again, if they're not too expensive. And then this is what's in the projected, how do we say this? The projected, boom, there we go. The projected top 100 cornerbacks, all right? Let me give you guys something better to look at. I can do it something better. Let's have some kind of having all kinds of fun with this thing. Boom, 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 boom. All right, there we go. That's good enough. The projected corners, let's see here. Gilbert Gonzalez-Forbes is great as a third cornerback. Get one in the free agent. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, Gilbert, because the truth is you need 3 corners nowadays. Even some of the mock drafts are projecting the Seahawks drafting another corner, right? They'll probably lose Tariq Woolen to free agency. I don't know if they want him back, but they were projecting it before. And so you need 3 corners, or 3 is the best corners, or at least a third pretty good one. And yeah, you keep Forbes around, and then you keep working free agency and one in the draft, or maybe one high in the draft and on the first or second day, and then one on the third day. But these are the top 100 cornerbacks rated. Now, I think where they were graded was right around the Senior Bowl. So again, there's fluctuation right here. But you've seen these names: Gerard McCoy and Mansour Delane. Both these guys look like top 15 corners. Avion Terrell, Clemson, looks like between 15 and 25. Late first round, the kid from South Carolina. Early second, Keith Abney. Now, here's the interesting one. Mid-second round, about 40, is Colton Hood. And Colton Hood, the last couple of mock drafts I've seen since the Senior Bowl has moved back into the first round. They're projecting Rams taking him at 13, someone taking him at 12. And so he'd be worth keeping an eye on. He's some guy that seems to have a lot of movement. Here's Manny Correa's guy, Keontae Scott, Miami. And then D'Angelo Pons, Indiana. I don't want a 5'9", 173 corner. I want something bigger than that, right? And then you got the third round guys there, and then the late third round. Will Lee was a name that appeared that on a couple of places, and so I'd be in on Will Lee, late third round, maybe early in the. We don't have a fourth rounder actually on the third day. Maybe they can move up or deal something there. Will Lee is interesting, and he'd be a pretty good second corner taken. The other thing aspect here is this is the free agent market, and you see Jamil Dean right there. And what I did was I included what his numbers are. Jamil Dean, he's the free agent from Tampa Bay. He's 6'1", 206. Like the size, I like the weight, I like all that. It's a third-round pick out of 2019 out of Auburn. He turns 30 in October. If you give him 3 years, 12 rocks, that's his market value right now. That's his market value. Of course, played at Tampa Bay. 7 years of mileage, has never missed significant time. Has missed a couple games this past year, but he's never missed significant time. And then the other one is Jalen Watson from the Chiefs. I think he's more in that 12 rock range, something similar to Dean. It's not 14 rocks. 6'2", 197. I like him a lot. 7th round, Washington State, played for the Chiefs, has played in big games for the Chiefs. So you might like that one. A little bit younger than Jamil Dean. And then, of course, the other free agents out there that were listed on this list that I saw, Turek Whelan and Mike Hilton. I don't think we want any of those guys, but those would be the prime free agents to focus on. So I'd be interested. I think the idea of grabbing one of these guys in free agency, drafting another maybe in the 3rd round, kind of shores up that room. Maybe you bring Roger McCreary back. I could see that being really interesting. USA expat. Combine always seems to push cornerbacks up and down from current rankings. We'll try to keep an eye on it, and you guys let me know. Keep me honest, and I'll be happy to adjust because it's going to be fun to talk about. It's so early in the process right now. I mean, we haven't even gotten through the Super Bowl. And again, I'm just going to keep hitting these position rooms going forward because it's fun to talk about. I'd rather be talking about game planning for Super Bowl 60, but yeah, we saw how that worked out. So, all right, let me get back here to you guys and share with you a couple things here. And I want to talk about sports ball game. Be sure, guys, click on that link I dropped in the box there. You can do me a favor, make me look good in front of the sponsor. There you go. I'll be less formal about it. Make me look good. Go and take a couple of squares there. Follow that link, and that's how it works. Jump in, claim a square, totally free, and you can walk away up with a prize after every quarter. Right? 4 chances to win, courtesy of Sports Ball. And so check that out. Just trying to build this brand. I really like this brand because what's going to happen is that sooner or later, I like to think we're going to keep growing, and the market for sports talk is all saturated by gambling, and I'm not a gambling guy, not at all. I wasn't a gambling guy before I became a minister, so it's not a church thing necessarily. I've just seen lives ruined by it, so I've always stayed away from it. Sports ball offers you that opportunity to pick squares, have some fun, talk some trash, give you bragging rights with your friends with all that stress of the gambling. But check in, claim a square. The board locks on the first when kickoff happens. So you got plenty of time the next 3 days. Grab a spot, get your square, watch the game, and sweat those numbers. Let's talk all the trash we want, and it'll be a lot of fun. I hope to do more of this going forward next year. Even I'm trying to get all the hang of it. But be sure to click on that link, join Sports Ball. You see it right there in the box there. Join sportsball.com/RamView. All right, and hook a brother up. Help me out here. Let's get that thing done and accomplished. All right, let's see here. USA expat, by the way, 3-time Pro Bowl center from Baltimore is a potential. Yeah, Linderbaum, right? Yeah, I take him. Does Baltimore really let him go out the door? Right? Do they really let him go out the door? Right? That one just blows me away. I didn't know he was 25. I was thinking he was closer to 26, 27. But now, if you want to lock up that guy, and then you got Avila and Dotson, and then you got your bookends at tackle, that I love that, right? I love that. Tribe, agree. 2 brand new starters at corner, only way they'd be serious contenders for the Super Bowl. The room is empty right now. We're not counting Darius Williams staying. We're not counting them re-signing Kobe Durant, and Roger McCreary. So right now, the only guy in the room with any real NFL experience is Emmanuel Forbes. Darius Williams, we think, is going to be a cap casualty. He should be. He's going to be turning 33. I think, Rams got a Super Bowl out of Darius Williams. Let's not try to extend it anymore. Let's leave on good terms. So, yeah, very much in alignment with you guys there. All right, let's look at, the draft. These numbers after, I think, 93 will start to fluctuate a little bit because they got to work in, the exact standings where they put in some of the third-round picks, the compensatory picks, where they land. But I think this is where we're at right now. Number 13, number 29, those are locked. I think number 61 is locked. 93, I think, is locked. So you know what those 4 picks are. And what I would circle is that number 29. I want offense at 13. I want offense at number 13. But what I would circle is number 29 and try to decide, what do we really need? And maybe some of these corners, when you get to 29, aren't worth drafting in the first round, but maybe a little bit later in the second round. And maybe you could move back a couple spots and pick up a second rounder and a fourth rounder by moving back a few spots, and then taking one of these other corners we talked about at a more friendly price as a second rounder or maybe even a third rounder. Yeah, I'm just not all in on drafting a corner in the first round. Those guys are going to be gone. The only one that kind of lit my fire a little bit was the possibility of Caleb Downs, but I don't think Caleb Downs is going to drop to 13. And again, for that very reason, that he can do so much on defense, that he would help us in some of that coverage and some of that stuff that's going on all around this team with defense, right? In coverage, right? That one's brutal. Let's see. $5 Steve, draft Lemon and a quarterback by third round inside and a free agent. I'm all over that, man. All over that. I'm good. I'd even take a corner at 61? Is that where it falls? Yeah, I'd take a corner there too. Let's see. We need a quarterback with the first pick. Mr. David Henry, hope all is good with your family. I just don't think you can move away from that offense. I just don't, and I'll share it one more time, maybe because maybe you didn't roll in. But the idea is that this team's okay if Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford come back. You still need another weapon. But the next quarterback is going to need a weapon, because the next quarterback is not going to have Devontae Adams. He's going to have a Puka Nacua with more mileage. And then who is he going to throw to? Maybe Terrence Ferguson. But you got a chance drafting number 13. We don't want to pick 13th ever again. We want to be in the 30s, right? We want to draft 30, 31, 32. But right now you're at 13, and I think you got to get a splash player, an impact player, or potentially an impact player at that spot. USA expat, package all those 6th and 7th round picks and move up. I think there's a possibility there, but also let's not shortchange the Rams. 5th, 6th, 7th round, they've done really well. Now, yeah, for every Puka Nacua, there is a Kanata Mumpfield, but he's a contributor. Davis Allen is really good, 5th round, but you know what? Quentin Lake was 6th round, and Rams got huge mileage out of him. He got a second contract. Rams do really good in these later rounds. We just got to trust the process there. I understand the frustration. All right, let's keep rolling. What else do we got here? All right. Tell me you're all going to sports ball, man. Help me out. All right. Help this dude out. All right. Let's look at our schedule again. Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals. Of course, we know that. And then Cowboys, Giants, Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Bills. At home, one of those games going to Australia. And then the away games, Eagles, Texans, Buccaneers, Raiders, Broncos. Yeah, I think the Raiders will be a year away. I think the Buccaneers are going to have some interesting times, but they're dangerous. That's why you need those corners, because they're going to have all those receivers if they're healthy. If Evans comes back, which I think he will, you're going to have Godwin, Igabuka, right? They've got guys there, and Baker Mayfield's going to be healthy again. Maybe we can make him unhealthy. It seemed like everything really went south for him after he played against us. The Eagles, they signed Sean Mannion as their OC, right? I think the Eagles got problems. We said last year that they were going to come back to the pack. They'd make the playoffs. It's exactly what happened. And then the Cardinals and 49ers and Seahawks. Besides divisional familiarity, here's the thing that's really wild is, Rams played the Seahawks 3 times. The 49ers, that's Kyle Shanahan. So him and McVay know each other really well. And now you got Raheem Morris up there. And now you got the Cardinals looking to hire Aubrey Pleasant as the DC. And then, besides Michael LaFleur being head coach, they're going to do the Rams a favor and bring in Nathaniel Hackett as OC. I think it's great. But if you're going to be playing the Cardinals, Nat Hackett or not, we saw what Mike Wilson did with a quarterback who could get him the ball. Mike Wilson wasn't a factor until Jacoby Brissett became the starter, right? And when Jacoby Brissett became the starter, all of a sudden Mike Wilson looked pretty good. Marvin Harrison's going to find his stride at some point, and Trey McBride obviously has found his stride. So you look at that record, you look at that there, and the Rams have a lot of what would you say? A lot of opportunity there to get back easily to double-digit wins. I think I can make a case for 12 wins looking at that schedule. Let's see. Let me see. Where did I miss you at? Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, check out the GOAT house. It's named Big Name Players Who Could Be Cut. Check it out and see what players you go for. Was that on Turf Show Times? Did I see that on Turf Show Times? Players that could get cut. I thought some of that was pretty weak sauce. Rams won't bring back Troy Reeder. Really, is that breaking news? I think if that's the one I saw, I wasn't going to comment on it. $5 Steve was mentioned on X today. What happens if running back Jeremiah Love is there at 13 and Lemon is not? I don't know. Could you send Kyron or one of those guys away, right? Could you send one of them away? I don't think the Saints are going to give up on him or let him get by them, right? That was one of the mock drafts projected him going there and such. So they need an Alvin Kamara alternative, and I think it's coming. Let's see. Where are we at here? Boom, 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 boom. With Tutu, Higbee, and Havenstein all gone. This is Gilbert. Thank you, Gilbert. Saving $25 million. Ask Matthew if he wants what he wants and pay him. Don't go cheap. Give the man this money. I fully agree. If he wants 70 rocks, you give him the rocks. You borrow from next year. Whatever you need to do, you do it, right? USA expat. I vote Seattle for Seattle to fly to Australia to play us. See, I don't want that because that takes away a Ram home game. And it's just more mileage, right? It's just more mileage. We just got through going to London this year. NFL Players Union sucks, and they should tell their Players Union it sucks. Paul, hi, Joe. I'm very curious to see what Stetson Bennett could do if given a chance to play. What do you think of him? Well, I'm curious. We'll know in the draft, right? I could see maybe this scenario. Does Jimmy G want to stay? We talked about this a couple shows ago. Does Jimmy G really want to be a caddy for a third season? He might be thinking, I got one more shot, right? And we broke down a whole list of teams that maybe he could go to. And maybe we'll revisit that on Friday. But if he goes, okay, what else is out there? Stetson Bennett's been in-house now for 3 years, and maybe it's time that he gets the backup job. My goodness, we gone through entire seasons with Blake Bortles, Brandon Allen, was it Brandon Allen or Kyle Allen, and John Wolford as our backup quarterback. Stetson Bennett's been in the system. I'd like to see him too. I wouldn't have a problem if he was the second quarterback next year. If Jimmy G walks, that saves you about 3 rocks. And then I am in on Drew Aller in the 5th round. I am in on that, right? I'm also in, I got to mention it before somebody else does, and you guys forget to tell everybody else in the KBM, like Peo or somebody else who comes and shows up. I said Will Levis first. Look at Will Levis. Anyway, Manny Correa, Seattle and Philadelphia, along with Baltimore, will take corners. Oh, yeah. I saw one ridiculous notion. Rams looking at Marlon Humphrey coming to LA as a free agent. Do you really want anything to do with Marlon Humphrey? Yeah, I don't. Manny Correa. Caleb is a safety. Yes, he is a safety, but the dude is versatile, right? And he's not going to be there at 13, but dang, that would be kind of cool, right? I still want the offensive player. $5, Steve. I think the networks are more likely to have that Ram-Aussie game being the Chiefs or the Cowboys who bring more eyes. I hope so. I'm good with any of that, right? The Rams and Chiefs owe the international market a game after that debacle in Mexico. And, of course, that was the blessing for us. But yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. Let's see, Michael DeGretti. Joe, have you ever checked out Draft Tech? No, I don't. I haven't recalled. I looked at Pro Football Focus, Pro Football Draft Network, Walter Camp, Draft Tech. Okay, I'll check it out. I don't have to subscribe, do I? But I'll check it out. I just got through paying my PFF subscription again, and I don't know if I want to add another one to my bill there. All right, let's keep moving here. Big stuff on the calendar. We got the combine coming at the end of this month. And then March 11th is the start of the new year. And that's when you get the trade. Well, that's when the trades, you can get trades now, but they finally go through March 11th. But then the free agency period starts and all that starts going from there. Annual league meetings are at the end of March. And then April 23rd through the 25th, draft in Pittsburgh. I don't know if Steeler fan Rob is going. It looks like Clint Kubiak's going to be the head coach in Vegas. John Harbaugh just hired Frank Reich to be his OC in New York with the Giants. Looking at some other stuff here. Yeah. Nothing else there. All right, let's keep moving along. See what else. See what else is coming here. And we laughed about Michael LaFleur. Okay, Seahawks Patriots. I'm trying to find a way to give the Patriots the win because I want the Patriots to win. I've told you this. I want the Patriots to win. I want the Patriots to win 42-3. That's a good Super Bowl for me. That's a great game for me. I don't want the Seahawks riding high. What I want is them to have doubt about Sam Darnold. And it's strictly business. It's not personal, okay? Very Godfather-ish. But I want Sam to throw 7 interceptions and just fumble the ball twice. And I want them having doubts all off season about what they should do. So I said originally 23-13 Seattle. I'm going to amend that here at the end. I did like my take. Nobody else seemed to. I see Rashid Shaheed as this version of Percy Harvin was 10 years ago for the Seahawks. He had that big Super Bowl against the Broncos, that one splash that Percy Harvin really made with the Seahawks. I see Rashid Shaheed as that kind of guy. I see competent receivers on the New England side that can chew up that Seattle defense, which I think is a bit overrated because the Patriots do have a competent quarterback. So that is okay, but their receivers aren't great. They're so-so. New England's O-line is not great. Seattle's pass rush is not good. Patriots defense is better than people think, but they got a blitz to bring a rush, and Seattle's going to have to run the ball. And I'm not sold on Kenneth Walker. I'm just not 100%. The guy does go down quite a bit, although he didn't go down against the Rams, but the Rams did shut him down in the second half. So, again, something to keep an eye on. But here's what came to mind. I was thinking about guys getting a shot you never thought would get a shot at a Super Bowl. And I was looking at Seattle, and you think about how long Leonard Williams has been around, the guy out of USC. You know, he was 6th overall out of USC. And he was with the Jets going nowhere, with the Giants going nowhere, went to Seattle, and now he's in a Super Bowl in his, 11th season, right? DeMarcus Lawrence, all those years in Dallas, all those years, all that drama, all that ridiculousness of kidding themselves, thinking they were contenders, and all those games they coughed up when they should have won. DeMarcus Lawrence is in his 12th year, and he's going to his first Super Bowl. And then their kicker, Jason Myers, has been around for 12 years himself. He has bounced around. He's a former Jet. He's bounced around, and he's going to the Super Bowl. And on the New England side, you know, I was watching Stephon Diggs in Buffalo a few years ago, and I thought he was done. I didn't think he was anything special in Houston. He's been kind of bumpy because of his girlfriend these days up there, but he's playing in his first Super Bowl. Here's a guy that's kind of under the radar. He's the guy that labored all those years in Tennessee, Harold Landry. Harold Landry felt like one of those guys that was just going to slowly fade away after all that promise. But here he is in a Super Bowl. Hunter Henry is in a Super Bowl. 5 years with the Chargers, leaves as a free agent. You bet the Chargers regret that now. Man, you bet they wish they had Hunter Henry back. And 5 years now with New England, Belichick, Gerard Mayo, and now he's in a Super Bowl. And the same thing, Ramondre Stevenson, running back. He's been there through Belichick's last year, Gerard Mayo, and now Mike Vrabel. And he's in his 5th year. These running backs don't last that long, and now he's going to a Super Bowl. And then there's Morgan Moses, who's been around for, another 12 years himself, a couple of stints with the Jets. He's been everywhere, and he's in his first Super Bowl. Some of these guys, you go, wow, their feelings about being in the Super Bowl must be amazing. But here's one that got me. You don't want any injury to happen, right? But if you're looking for a fairy tale story, a John Barnes type of story, which I'll talk to $5 Steve. I still can't believe they have not made a movie about UCLA's John Barnes. I can't believe it. I heard someone say they want to make a movie about Sam Darnold. But here's the movie I'll give you. Drake May goes down, and Josh Dobbs comes in and wins the Super Bowl for the Patriots. Wouldn't that just be a great story? Drake May is going to get back there. I don't want Drake May to get hurt, but if he does get hurt, he's going to get back there. Wouldn't it be kind of cool to see Josh Dobbs win the Super Bowl as the quarterback that comes in and saves the day? Dang, that would be really cool. Either he wins the Super Bowl or becomes Norris Weiss, one or the other. Gilbert Gonzalez, with the Seahawks being sold after the Super Bowl, could their window close shut in a hurry? Something to think about. And I was curious. Is that Paul Allen's family that's selling them? I never heard any of the details. I did hear they were likely to go up for sale, but is that did they give particulars as to why? Paul, win or lose, I think Seattle will take a step back next year. Losing their OC will be a challenge, and he might take a few coaches and players with him. Strong possibility there, tough to repeat. They got JSN, they'll extend him, but Cooper Kupp is old. And Rashid Shaheed runs the fly pattern. So you're right. There could be some issues there. I also think, doggone it, they got really lucky. They got lucky, right? And they took advantage of it, but they got lucky, right? Some unheard of calls, some unbelievable things happening. And so, yeah, I definitely don't think they're a guarantee to become dynasty. Now, when Seattle won the Super Bowl and beat the Broncos, we were looking at that. And, they were a Malcolm Butler play away from being a dynasty. You win 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. I know someone says you got to win 3. I think, Steve, you're one of the guys. You got to win 3 to be a dynasty. But back-to-back Super Bowls, and maybe there's no hangover in 2015 or something, and they get back again. But that Malcolm Butler play, that just collapsed a franchise for a decade. I mean, they were competitive, but they never got back, did they? Never got back. And so there is a strong possibility there. And I think the Rams are going to have that much more fire, and hopefully they get a real red meat guy in that locker room. I hope there is a casualty of war that lets them know this is real. Clock is ticking. You're going to lose your quarterback. If not now, you might lose him after next year. You got to do it now. And so there's got to be urgency. There is a possibility there. I'm curious to see what the 49ers do. I'm not big on the 49ers. I think they cater too much of their age. Or you get another year, out of Trent Williams. Are you going to get another year out of Christian McCaffrey? George Kittle's coming back from an Achilles. They said Fred Warner was getting ready to play, but Fred Warner's got mileage on him too. Their secondary is suspect. Joey Bosa's coming back from another injury. I guess we could all break this down later, but I think things are wide open. I really do. Even if the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. $5 Steve. John Barnes was in the movies. He hands the ball to Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump. I didn't know that was him, but come on, give the guy a movie. The guy was at University of Santa Barbara. They dropped football. He watches the game from the stands, and then the next year he's destroying Larry Smith. And I think Mike Mooney was on the field that night. And yes, the Allen family is selling. I don't know. Was there a reason why they were selling? Does anyone know? But I don't know. I find myself working myself up a little more to really kind of like looking forward to the Super Bowl. I think it could be closer. I think I was seeing Seattle in a blowout originally. And I guess because I'm trying to convince myself that the Patriots have a shot. And I think they do. So right now, my prediction, not final, not a final prediction. I got Seattle 23, Patriots 21. There you go. I'm leaving it at that for right now, and I'll tell you what I think going forward. All right, let's see.
It was a stone groove, my man.
It was a stone groove. I appreciate you guys being here. February 4th, 1948, a wide receiver was born, went to the University of Kansas. His name, Ron Jesse, who we will argue always got into the end zone on the reverse in the 76 NFC Championship game in Minnesota. Thinking about that game and everything the Rams did, the conservatism of Knox. Knox ran a reverse, almost a prehistoric version of the jet sweep to Ron Jesse at the goal line. I mean, for the 1976 season, Chuck Knox did that. I mean, whoa, right? Chuck Knox would have been a great Big Ten coach, right? He'd have fit right in there with Hayden Fry. He would have fit right in there with Bo and Woody and stuff. But yeah, Ron Jesse passed away a number of years ago. Ron Jesse was born on this day in 1948. Born on this day in 1977, a forgotten Ram, is a defensive end out of Michigan, played 12 years in the NFL. He was an undrafted free agent out of Michigan, played 7 years in Detroit, and his final five, 2007 through 2011 with the Rams, his name, James Hall. Do you remember James Hall? James Hall was a nice contributor on those Ram teams coming out of the first decade of the century and then into 2011. In 5 seasons with the Rams, he recorded 30 sacks, 63 in his career. He was 6'2", 281. His rookie season with Detroit, they went 9-7. He spent the next 11 years with teams that were under 500. But I remember James Hall. Anyone else remember James Hall? I really like James Hall. February 5th, since we're not on the air tomorrow, February 5th, Rams re-signed head coach Chuck Knox. Now, he would leave the following year, but Knox had been flirting with going back to Detroit where he'd been an assistant. And then there was speculation that Red Miller was hoping if Knox had gone to the Lions, LA would have opened up for him. And of course, Red Miller ended up in Denver and taking the Broncos to the Super Bowl in 77. Born on February 5th, tomorrow, underrated, long forgotten receiver in the NFL, Red Phillips, was born in 1936. And the late Rich Saul was born on February 5th, 1948. 8th round pick, 2004. In 1970, 204th overall. Michigan State. Saul was a backup his first 5 seasons to Ken Iman, serving as the long snapper. Tough to find work on the Rams line in those days when Ken Iman was let go after the 74 season. Iman had never missed a game in 10 years. It was really tough to play. You couldn't even move over to guard because you had Shabelli and Mack who kept playing. Saul was the Rams' starting center from 1975 forward for the next 7 seasons, playing in every game and starting all but one. 6 times he was elected to the Pro Bowl. 6 times, right? Underrated, underappreciated. He passed away in 2012. He was the second in that string of centers of Iman, Saul, and Doug Smith from 1965 through 1991. Rich Saul, 6 straight Pro Bowl appearances? Maybe, Maybe he is a guy that might have gotten some consideration from a Veterans Committee if the Rams had won a Super Bowl. Also born on February 5th, 1961, former Ram defensive tackle Alvin Wright, who I believe passed away about a decade ago. Let's see here. Pastor Joe, you missed my text. What did I miss, Michael? Repeat it. Throw it out there. Have you ever seen Draft Tech? No, I've seen Draft Tech. Oh, no. I got that one. Tell me which one I missed, and I'll get back to you. I don't ignore anybody. I don't think I do. Do I ignore anybody? I don't think so. Tell me what I missed, Mike, and I'll go back to it. To recap the top of the show here, as we hit the 50-minute mark, just a reminder that the Cardinals have hired Nat Hackett as their offensive coordinator. We've talked about the cornerback room. Emmanuel Forbes literally is probably the only guy left standing there. Darius Williams is probably going to be a cap casualty. Kobe Durant and Roger McCreary are in the street, and hopefully, I don't know. I'm kind of interested in definitely McCreary coming back on a reasonable deal, right? I wouldn't be upset with Durant on a reasonable deal. But talked about Rams taking a look at free agency. The two big names to me headlining, I'd love to take whatever you have to say. Jamil Dean, the former Tampa Bay guy, Jalen Watson, former Chiefs guy. They're both over 6 feet tall. Dean is 6'1", 206. Watson is 6'2", 197. Watson's an overcomer, 7th-round pick. Dean was a 3rd rounder out of Auburn. He's got 7 years of mileage, but he's never missed any significant time. He does turn 30 in October, and you're looking at about 12 rocks a year for 3 years for each of these guys. And so it would be neat if the Rams could pick up one of those guys and then maybe pick up a guy maybe in the 61st pick overall in the 2nd round or 3rd round, pick up another corner. I think we can dance with that. I do not want to see, as I've reiterated again, I do not want to see the Rams making a move too high for a corner. I did have another graph I wanted to show you, and I'm not sure where it is. Let me see here. Let me look at my Rams articles. Wide receiver room, cornerback room. Where's my corner room? I don't know. I got a list here of corners that I wanted to talk about. Mock drafts. There we go. Mock draft. Pastor Joe, what Rams offensive line was best in what year? Ooh, I'll come back to that. A lot of fun there. I'll come back to that big time. All right. We talked about a couple of mock drafts. I looked at a third one. Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft at the end of January before the Senior Bowl had Mekhi Lemon, number 13 to the Rams, and offensive tackle Blake Miller, Clemson, right tackle, going to the Rams at 29. I view this as really obsolete. Mekhi Lemon is shooting up the boards as we speak. February the 2nd, Marcus Hood, cornerback, Tennessee, being projected out of the first round. He was projected late first round, projected back into the 2nd round. Now in a lot of mock drafts is projected in the 13th or 12th overall spot out of Tennessee. And then Lance Zierlein also projects Ty Simpson at 29 to the Rams. Not excited about that at all. And ESPN's Matt Miller also comes back with is it Marcus Hood or Colton Hood? I'm sorry, the Tennessee guy. I'm blowing his name. I believe it's Marcus Hood or Colton Hood. Sorry, I keep forgetting. What's that name again? Anyway, at corner at 13. And then Monroe Freeling out of Georgia, offensive tackle. He's like 6'7", 315. He's a right tackle, but he's only got 13 starts, right? Only 13 starts. Sorry, I've done the Bobby Evans thing. I'm not up for that. Let's see. Go 3 up. Okay. What do you think of the Rams' new special teams coach from Cleveland? You know what? I'm giving the Rams benefit of the doubt. They went and found somebody. They didn't just promote in-house. They went and found somebody. And so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt until there's no reason to give them the benefit of the doubt. And the template's been set is that if you suck, McVay will fire you mid-season right after a big game. So hopefully that works out best. Sam Darnold, the same route. Are you talking about Colton Hood? Thank you, Michael Negretti. Are you talking about the John Barnes story? Maybe, or Josh Dobbs too? Okay, Paul, let's see. No, Michael. What Rams offensive line was the best and what year? Okay. Everything 73 forward is in play for me. Everything 73 forward is in play. Gosh, I don't know. I probably liked the Doug Smith guy at center. I like Doug Smith at center. But, God, you're running Tom Mack out there, right? Tom Mack, Charlie Cowan, Dennis Hara. The mileage we got out of these players. Irv Pankey. It's really hard to say. I'm going to go with the Rams line in 79, and I'll tell you why, because they got to the Super Bowl. Saul was at center. Hera was there. Kent Hill was there. You had Jackie Slater there. And you had, who was at left tackle? Who started left tackle in 79? Doug France. And the fact that Ferragamo got beaten up, but he was able to pass and keep the Rams in that game, my heart's going to go to that team. Of course, Eric Dickerson's team, offensive line, right when he rushed for 2,000 yards. You're running Kent Hill, Dennis Hara, Doug Smith, Irv Pankey out there, and Jackie Slater. That one's pretty special offensive line in 84. The new breeds, Jackie Slater, of course, the all-time right tackle. He's got to be, right? In some ways, you got to just make Orlando Pace the left tackle, right? Even over Charlie Cowan and Doug France and all those guys. I'm partial to Rich Saul. I'm partial to Tom Mack. Schiavelli was really undersized. I'm also partial to Dennis Hara. So I'm going to say that 79 team that went to the Super Bowl, because they did what needed to get done, right? They cleared. If those guys are hurt, now everybody was hurt. Everybody was hurt. Everybody was falling by the wayside that year. Everybody was going down, and at quarterback too. And they didn't trust Ferragamo. They brought in Bob Lee. Hayden broke his pinky again or whatever it was, and then you started Jeff Rutledge for a game until Ferragamo found his stride. Wendell Tyler hit a lot of home runs. I'm going to go the 79 Rams. I'm going to go the 79 offensive line by what they were able to accomplish on the road in Dallas, on the road in Tampa Bay, and technically, even though they were in the Rose Bowl, on the road, because Ram fans are terrible fans. You watch, again, the Super Bowl 14 highlights, all those people that they focus on acting like they're Ram fans. I can tell you, I can spot a fake Ram fan quicker than I can spot a toupee, right? So I hope that helps there, Michael. I hope that helps. Other than Avion Terrell and a Clemson, Chris Johnson, San Diego State, Hood and Sis are handsy and don't turn their head. Okay. I will investigate more. Hood's got pretty good size, though, right? Pretty good size. And again, what I want to see, what I want to see is I want to see more aggressive defense. And if that means a change in philosophy, then a change in philosophy. I think if you get Stafford back, you add a weapon at 13. I want to say, you know what? We're going to be more dangerous. We're not just going to bend and don't break. We're going to blitz more. We're going to do different things. We're going to give you different looks. And we're going to do all those types of things because, yeah, we'll give up the big play, but we're not going to be nickeled and dimed to death. But we got such a great offense, right, that we're not afraid. Now, imagine if now you're getting me all caught up in fantasy here. Imagine if the Rams signed Linderbaum from Baltimore, right? And then you draft a Mekhi Lemon, that's my guy, or a Carnell Tate, right? You draft one of those guys. And then you got Devontae Adams, Lemon or Tate, Puka Nacua, Terrence Ferguson, Williams Corum, Linderbaum in the center of that line, along with Avila, Dotson, McClendon, and Alaric Jackson. Right? Who's not there for that? Who is not there for that? Tim Burns. I miss Gus Frerotte. Right? Oh, please. Let's see. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe. Every offensive lineman you named are legends. They are, right? I didn't even mention Bill Bain. Rams got some great seasons out of Bill Bain. Picked him off the ash heap in 79, stuck around long enough to when John Robinson got there. Bill Bain. Bill Bain filled in for Irv Pankey, left tackle, when Pankey blew out his, I think it was his Achilles in 83. Jesse got a touchdown. Everyone raise a cup to Ron Jesse, right? Jesse got into heaven and asked God. He said, Lord, tell me. I got to know. I got to see it. I think I was in. And the Lord's saying, yeah, you were in. These people down there aren't perfect, but you were in. So he probably gave Jesse a ring just to let him know he was there, right? Because God's a Ram fan. Let's see here. I think we're good. Love me some Bill Bain. Did you see Bill Bain when Irv Pankey went down and Bain got to fill in for him at the end of preseason? And he was crying on camera, crying for Irv. And you see big old Bill Bain just crying his eyes out and stuff. And but man, Rams got clicks. Rams got clicks out of Duval Love, right? They got clicks out of, and they knew when to get out of the Kent Hill business, because Kent Hill was great for the Rams. He was included in the Everett trade and just vanished in Houston. Rams did some great work. Tom Newberry gave them some really good years, and he's all but forgotten. How good is the Rams offensive line coach? Because the Eagles just let their offensive line coach go, and he's really good. No, I'm perfectly happy with the Rams offensive line coach. Whatever they do it right? And look at you just found Alaric Jackson, of course, elevated UDFA, and now you got is it Wendell, and now you got Warren McClendon, who I think is a direct result of Wendell coming from a 5th round spot to a starting spot at right tackle that I think we all feel comfortable with. Yeah, this is powerful stuff. Hold on, I got a Colt fan calling me. Hey, Colt fan, Rich Whittington.
What's going on?
I keep hanging up on you because I'm on the air. You're on RamView right now, and you're on RamView. I want to hear how you feel about your owner always being on the sidelines, taking notes at Colt games. And if you curse, I got to get rid of you.
No, I'm not going to curse.
Okay.
You know something? I actually think it's a decent idea. She's admitting she needs to know more about football. Or else to learn, but on the sidelines.
Okay. All right. I will call you back when I'm all done with the show, Chief. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So there we go. Anyone named Bain sounds tough, Michael Negretti. So am I just winging it? We've gone over an hour. Guys, after an hour, I can have as much fun as I want, right? I can have as much fun as I want. All right, guys. Hi, Colt fan. Yeah. He hasn't been happy the last few years. He hasn't been happy. Fry an egg on the back of his neck. Okay, guys, I think I better roll. And I do appreciate you guys being here. I don't want to leave, but you guys all rolled in. You guys throw me a question real quick here. I'll stick around. Give me 2 questions and I'll stick around. If not, we're going to cut this one out. We'll go out with some proud heritage. I do appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate your support. Be sure to check out Sports Ball. Be sure to go to the link and take a square and make me look good in front of the sponsors, because these squares are pretty cool. We're kind of excited about it. And it's something that we can do. I do not want to go down, and I won't go down the gambling route, but be sure to check out Sports Ball. The link is there. Go there and check it out. In exchange for that, I'll hang around and take a couple of questions. What's for dinner? Flank steak, Chief. I'm getting flank steak. So, and then I'm going to Silverado's at South Point on Monday night. Yeah, so I'm going to get a great steak this weekend. So, yeah, should be good. All right, guys, I do appreciate you being here. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate you hanging out. Have a great day. And I am still looking. You might see me pop on. I'm still working on some things that I want to be able to pop on, where maybe I'd come on and share some news, but don't necessarily stay on for an hour. I just got to work my schedule out. All right. We're going to get out of here with some proud heritage. God bless. Take care. Be sure to like. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you to Kistler Law.